Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know every time I put up a new video and or a live stream. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be back home. Went on a short little trip with the TRD Pro Tundra, and I always like to give a report on how I felt the truck did on these trips. This was about just a little under 350-mile trip. Went to Pocono Raceway to see NASCAR, to see Christian Eckes drive his NASCAR TRD Pro Toyota Tundra, which if you don't know, last year I was one of the sponsors on the truck, so we support Christian Eckes, hoping for big wins out there. He looked good. He won one of the stages. He made it to the NASCAR truck playoffs, and he finished 8th in the race, so it was good to see him up there driving that 98 Thor Sport Tundra. So we had a good time going up there, and then we stayed for the Cup race the next day. Best part about this trip is we have to drive up into the Pocono Mountains. So it tells you a lot about the Tundra, because anyone from Pennsylvania probably right now will go in the comments below and tell me I'm totally right to say that a lot of roads going in and driving through Pennsylvania are in rough condition. So we put the suspension, kind of on blast to see what it will do, with those kind of road conditions, how the tires did and everything like that. How was the fuel mileage? But overall, it was a great trip. My buddy and I went up there. We just brought our chairs, a cooler. We have a house up in the Poconos, my wife's family, so we were able to stay there. And we were only about, under an hour from the track, so it was really nice. So let's talk a little bit about how the Tundra did. First off, just overall, I absolutely love my 2020 Army Green TRD Pro Tundra. Not only does it look great, see I got the shirt on with it today, not only does it look great, everything's body color blacked out. You guys know how the Pro look. You get that nice even look with the Fox suspension. You don't get that big rake in the front or everything. It has that nice 1.5 to 2 inch lift in the front of the truck to make it just have that awesome look. We parked in a really good spot on the second day with the Cup Series, so everyone who was walking by the truck was paying compliments to it. But driving matters, and I feel like that 2020, of all the Tundras I've had, this 2020 drives better than all of them, and that includes the supercharged Tundra. It's just the way the engine and the transmission are mated together is just amazing. The 6-speed has no trouble getting to the right gear to get you up these big hills when you're going up into the mountains. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't search around looking for the right gear. It does what it has to do to get you up there. I never felt underpowered in this trip at all. And we did a lot of driving up into the mountains and then on some twisty back roads to get to the track because of where we are and where the track was. We didn't have to do a lot of highway once we got up there. So it gave the truck the true test for an everyday driver. The noise wasn't annoying. People ask about the drone with the TRD dual exhaust. You do hear it a lot more in the mountains. When the gear drops down to get you up there and the RPMs get up, you do hear it a lot more, but it is not annoying. The only time I think the TRD dual exhaust may get a little droney is when you're towing something heavy and when you're getting crazy with hauling up those hills. But overall for this trip, it was good. So I made a small little list of stuff here just along the weekend to talk about with you guys about the truck. I do have a couple cons, so that is not usual when I do the trips. It's usually all pros, but let's just really quick go over some of the pros and then the cons, and then you guys can go down and let me know what you think. Before we go any further, I made the statement, I've owned 6 Tundras. This is the best driving one I ever had. Please remember, in 2018, the transmission cooler came out of the Tundra, okay? They took it out, the external transmission cooler, and ever since then, the engine and transmission have felt completely different. And it is an amazing driving experience. I thought it was just me. I thought it was just in my head. But other owners that have owned the older Tundras and now own a 2020 or a 2021 agree with me on this. So please keep that in mind. So it's always a pleasure to drive the Tundra. It doesn't feel sluggish in any way, shape, or form. A pleasurable driving experience, especially when I was coming from the supercharged 2017. I was afraid going back to naturally aspirated would be an issue. It was not. Still absolutely love the driving experience for sure. But let's talk about some pros here. Number one, I want to stress to you that the suspension did very, very well. Some of those roads are insane up there, either low speed or high speed. That Pro suspension from Fox really rides over those bumps amazing. No issues whatsoever. You do feel them. It's not like you have no road feedback whatsoever, but it does float over those bumps as per design. It's not a long travel suspension in any way, shape, or form. I'd call it like a mild mid-travel suspension, but it definitely does the job with some of these insane roads that I was going over, whether it be on some back roads that weren't paved very well. There were some areas that were, gravel roads and everything, and just some of the highways they need to do some work on up there. But overall, the suspension was amazing. Tires, they don't hum, they don't do anything crazy. I mean, the Michelin LTXs that we have on the Tundra now, the AT2s, I should say that we had up till 2021, they don't have the great all-terrain look that some of the tires out there have, like the BFG KO2s, but the performance is there. They get the job done. They don't have the look that should be on the Pro, but they do get the job done. So, you know, they don't slide around a lot in rain. They do very well in snow, and they're not loud on the highway. And, you know, they're a lot lighter than some of these big tire options out there. So it keeps the truck moving down the road nicely and not feeling too sluggish. Please keep that in mind. Another thing I want to give a huge high five to that I feel like the Tundra has gotten a lot better in over the years, especially in this 2020 versus other years. I feel like there's a lot less brake dive now. I feel like in older Tundras I've had, big heavy truck, you'd really feel that truck, you know, when you're heading to the lights or when you're going into a turn, really dive forward and you'd feel all that weight behind you. I just don't feel this in this 2020 at all. I don't know why, to be honest with you, but in going in some of these twisty roads we were on, and these were some twisty roads, you know, I didn't feel brake dive at all. Kind of went in with some speed to see, you know, what I could get out of it if the truck would even get to nearly a point of breaking loose, which did not happen. But the brakes are amazing. I think you just have to get used to them. Some people complain about the Tundra brakes. Once you get used to them, I think you'll be happy with the way they are. But I always felt like in this 2020, I never needed to get used to them. So this is like a magical truck, I swear. I already talked about the power with the engine and transmission, just always there, never sluggish, never searching for gears, never anything. 6-speed in the 5.7 V8, meant to be, perfect combination, whether you're going uphill, downhill, straight roads, through these crazy twisty roads, coming off of the turn and getting back on the pedal. The transmission always had the truck in the proper gear to just get up and go. And then you hear that TRD dual exhaust humming. It was just a pleasurable driving experience all the way. Fuel mileage, you guys will ask. I didn't track it on the way up because we did way up and then we did to the track to and from. But my way home was a 172.4 mile trip and the fuel mileage was 18.1. So it was coming in at 18.1 and that's through the computer. And if you want to judge that with like a pump to pump calculation, it's usually, I would say there, and this is a total guesstimate, the real gas mileage was probably 17.5 to 17.6 if you did like a pump to pump. But just going off of, you know, what the truck was telling me, 18.1. It was around 18.4. I got in some traffic at the very end, so 18.1 when we started getting into the stop and go. It did really, really well. You know, we didn't have any really crazy stoppages along the way on the way home until I got really close to the beach, and then everything gets a little slow. But let's talk about something we don't normally talk about with this gorgeous truck o' mine that I absolutely love. And that is the cons. One is a total con, and the other one is just, I have to mention it because, you know, I want to hear what you guys think out there. So let's go with the one that has to be mentioned. When I was driving the truck on these crazy twisty roads, I really felt that body sway come back that I haven't been feeling a lot, you know, since owning this truck. This is by far the twistiest roads I've ever taken it on, and I know it's a truck. It's not a sports car, I get it, but that body sway was definitely there on some of these turns, and not even on some of the harshest turns, but there was quite a bit of body sway. Now, a lot of you know that you can get the TRD rear sway bar, and that helps a lot, and there's the TRD front sway bar now as well. That really helps keep that truck planted into the road, and it definitely does wonders. Now, that's not really something you want to get for the TRD Pro because you don't want to limit that articulation that the suspension is meant for, okay? So you're going to want that suspension to travel. When you add things like the rear sway bar to a TRD Pro, that's when you start ruining the experience, at least in my experience, I should say. When I would be driving on the highway where it would be floating over all these bumps and uneven roads and everything, you start to feel the chatter a lot more because that TRD rear sway bar is not letting the suspension do its thing. So in these twisty roads that we were going on, there was quite a bit of body sway, but nothing that was uncontrollable, nothing that was too annoying. But I do want to admit that if I'm looking for a con there, that's something I do want to say because I noticed it. If I'm noticing it, it's got to be mentioned to you guys. Now, a true actual con, I've said this for a while, I'll say it again, the seats. The seats got very uncomfortable, you know, after all the driving. I didn't really feel that way with my Platinum. Now, don't forget, back, you know, with the 14 to 21s, it's all pretty much the same seat with a different cover on it. So with the Platinum, you're getting the actual leather that's, you know, perforated, and you were getting the heated and ventilated seats. And with the TRD Pro, you're getting pretty much the limited style seat, which is like a textured Softex. Doesn't have perforations or anything. But just for some reason, I just don't like the seat long driving wise. I always feel like I have a lower back issue and it just feels very uncomfortable. Now right now I'm sitting in a 2022 1794 Tundra seat that I made into an office chair. And in the two Tundras that I tested for 2022, I will say they've come night and day with making these seats a lot better. Just sitting in it right now talking to you, the bolstering's better, the comfort it's there. It's a lot different than it used to be. The seat really does feel great for 2022. So that was a huge plus. That if you go look at my 2022 driving videos with the Pro and the Limited, you will see that I talk highly about the seat. So they definitely fixed that. But with the seat that's in my 2020, I was sliding around a lot. The bolstering isn't so good, and comfort-wise on the long trips, it affects me quite a bit. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about that in the comments below. Now, I love to make these videos after a trip with my truck, just to talk about the truck a little bit and tell you how happy I am to spend the $56,000 for it, because the thing is amazing. Again, not only does it have the look that I adore, which is body color, everything in that beautiful army green color, blacked out with the big TRD Pro stamped on the side. You really can't go wrong. I'm in love with the truck. And I love, like I said, we were parked at the racetrack. People were saying a lot of very nice things about the truck, which is always awesome as well. But I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comments below, not about my truck, but about your truck. Do you agree with any of these things I'm saying about the engine, transmission, tires, suspension? How do you feel about the seats? Do you feel they are comfortable? Am I totally wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TundraDude34, TundraDude34@gmail.com. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video helps if you are in the market for a 14 to 21 Toyota Tundra. Happy hunting!